Welcome back, Lightning Cat crew. So in this video, I'm going to continue talking about the 4-3-1 formation that we played last week, things that I want to clear up that we may have done wrong, and also little tweaks to help us improve the formation to hopefully translate to what's going to happen this weekend in this week's game. So, to recap from last week, after the game, Earl and I spoke on the phone for a little bit about how well the girls did. We felt they played really good, especially for not having any subs. We felt like, defensively, we have a really good defensive team. But then the question is, how do we score goals? And that's what we need to look into now, because we've proven we can hold the field down. Now, how do we score goals and win these games? And that's usually what the struggle is for most teams. After watching different videos of the black team play from last week to the week before that, and even back into the fall season, one thing I've really noticed about our team is in the first 20 minutes, we're consistently at the other team's third of the field. We get in shots, a lot of them we miss, but we are extreme pressure right off the bat for the first 20 minutes at the other team's goal. Then, after that set of 20 minutes, the ball ends up in the second third of the field a lot. And it gets played this way, we play back this way, but it ends up primarily staying in the middle of the field. And then typically by the last 20 minutes of the game, we're on our side. And it's because we're tired. So, to me, what do we need to do? I think we need to start strong. I think we need to come right out of the gate and score as many goals as we possibly can. Because that's our advantage. That's where we have our strength, is right in the beginning. So I feel like we need to score right in the beginning and get 2, 3, 4 points ahead. And then as the game progresses, we get tired. That's when we can start bunkering down and just play defensively. So Earl was talking to me who we got to put up top for striker. We need somebody that is, not scared to get hit, somebody that can sprint fast and just get in there. And Earl suggested we try Lily. So I think that's what we're going to try this week. We're going to start Lily off at the striker position. I've already kind of briefed her on how I want her to play. She's to remain as close to the goal as possible as long as she's on sides. I really don't need her anywhere else on the field. I need her to get to the goal. I've explained to her that, she cannot back off from the goalie when the goalie's approaching the ball, which I've noticed countless times in previous videos of us playing, is the ball goes up the field, our striker starts following the ball, the goalie comes out of the goal and drops for the ball, and our striker just slows down and gives up. And we cannot do that. We have to 100 miles an hour be charging at that goalie, and if we run into the goalie, we run into the goalie. If we get a penalty for it, we get a penalty for it. But we have to put fear into that goalie, or we're never going to beat the goalie. If the goalie fears us, I guarantee you she's going to think twice before running out trying to save the ball, as we got Lily or Charlie Herring or whoever, Ryan, or Mackie, anybody, charging at them. Last night in our little scrimmage against Red, I was trying to tell Lily, yes, Jocelyn's our teammate, so we don't want to be mean to her or nothing, but when Jocelyn picks up that ball, Lily, get in her face. Talk a little trash, you got it this time, but I'm getting it next time. I clearly saw Mackie get right in Coach Matt's face right after he caught the ball. Mackie is a wonderful striker. She knows how to intimidate the goalie. She knows how to play the defense. And that is something that we also need to teach our girls. I do plan to put Mackie in the center mid position in this game, and whoever is playing striker, I want Mackie to kind of coach them, like, hey, you stay up, or start to scramble, or sprint at that goalie. So, I also plan to put Maddie as our center. Maddie's got speed. She's got very accurate shots. I'm hoping if we can get the ball into this section of the field, which is called Zone 14, and Lily can disrupt or, get defenders out of the way or break lines, she can pass a ball backwards to Maddie or just clear the way for Maddie, and Maddie can get a shot and get us a goal. I plan to try and use Nathan and Clara as our right and left mids. I'll go over the positional names in a little bit of what I'm calling them based off of this formation. Both of them have, one good physical, ability against other players, mostly because they're short. I mean, they can come in. I've watched Claire do it over and over. She comes in low and gives that hard shoulder and knocks people on her feet that are twice as big as her. She's a tank. That's why we call her Tank. I mean, she's probably one of the toughest girls on the field that I've ever seen, and she has to be for as small as she is. I mean, Aubrey Nathan's tough too. I watched her last season in the Pasadena tournament get body slammed, and she gets up and is still fighting back. But what we need to do for this upper section is we really need to, minus the striker, it's more of the midfielders. We need to be clear on where you're going. So I really don't want the midfielder outside of the center mid outside of this area, because we do have the wing backs. So now we got two in this lane. Last thing I need is a third in the lane, and then the center is just wide open. The midfielder needs to look at the lines of the penalty box and the goal box and judge her spacing where she needs to be. Once we get crowded up, then it's just a mess. If the midfielder is drifting, this right midfielder needs to shift center. We always have to have somebody back center. This is, we call it overlap. You can also call it an underlap. But if we're going to drift over, we need to switch back. In this portion of the field, this is the area for the right mid, this is the area for the left mid, this is the area for the center mid. The striker, on the other hand, they're more or less free to roam the entire width of the field. They need to understand that they're not here to drop back and help. Their job is to just stay up top with with the second last defender. The goalie is technically a defender. The rule actually states they have to be with it for offsides is the second last defender. So they need to be with the second last defender before the goalie. The reason why they changed that terminology is because as teams get better, goalies are actually coming out on the field playing defense as well as a sweeper, known as a sweeper keeper, which I would like to get us to that point. Why just play 8 versus 8 when we can play 9 versus 8? And the goalie is able to move up out of the goal, use her feet, and play the ball back and forth, and receive passes from our own teammates. Eventually, we will get there. Currently, we are not there yet, but in the future, yes, we will be there. Same down on this side. Wingbacks and the center backs. All right, center backs share this whole area. They can line up this direction. They can switch spots depending on how they need to switch, depending on If this person gets beat, this person needs to move over. And then as this person needs to instantly start dropping back. Once this player gets beat, this one moves back in. This one then needs to come back over and reset. And it should be a leapfrog right back down the field. Wingbacks. I do not need you in this portion of the field. Your entire job is to stay along the line. The out of bounds line is where I need you, because I need to be able to play a ball out wide. The outside is our getaway. All right. If you're not here, you can't receive this ball. So wings, always stay wide. You know, I don't really want to see you much further than the goal box line. All right. Stay wide at all times. Even if the ball is here and this one's creeping over, like, same deal. I don't want you coming in too far. You need to stay wide, because if we get this ball and we shift to here, and then this would be Charlie. Charlie's going to start backpedaling, and this ball's going to come to Charlie. This person needs to turn and get back to this line to play it over, because I guarantee you our right mid is going to be here waiting for this pass. All right? And that's how the structure needs to work. We're in trouble, we drop back. She would shift, she would shift, she would shift. Ball comes over. This person then backpedals. Ball comes over. This person's backpedaling to the sideline. Ball comes over. This person's dropping. Ball comes up. And then we're off to the race. And we start pushing. All right? Midfielder. Same with the midfielder. Like, this has been I noticed it last night in our scrimmage. Our midfielder is over here. What good are you over here? You're no good to nobody. You're just in the way. All right? Stay out. Stay near the middle. You know, use the circles. Like, the lines are on the field to help us. Use the circle. Judge, and use these lines over here. Judge where you need to be. Keep your distance. Think about rondos, all right? Because right here's a rondo. Just like I was talking about in the last video. All right? This person wants to press. I can play here. If this person's on this side, I can play up to here. Then we're off. Oh, the next defender comes in. All right? I can drop this ball back. Or I can drop it over here. You know? The center backs are all moving up. We can drop the ball back to the center back. This person chases. I play it over here. I'm playing it right back up. Oh, now I got a breakaway. I'm running down. You know, my striker is following me. Oh, and real quick, for offsides, which I'm sure, I don't know if many people know this. Here's our second to last defender. Here is the last defender. We cannot pass him until the ball is played forward. Correct. Now, once that happens, there is still an offsides line, and it is the ball, which means she can't be past the ball at this point. She has to remain behind or on the side of the ball, or else that is offsides. But anyway, this person then get a breakaway, and then our striker can time off. And whether she dribbles the ball past the defender, we're good to go, or she makes the cross, and we're here to bang it in. Like, that's ideally how I want to do it in my head. I've also have noticed our team, we get out on the outside, but then as soon as we get to the midfield, we want to put it right back in the middle. And we do fairly well at that, but in my eyes, the middle is a highly congested area. I like using the sideline myself more than the middle. But if we're able to, get the team opened up to free the middle, then yes, let's get it in the middle, because the middle is going to be a better shot in the end.